Maya Vashavarti Vishyamakhilam Brahmadi Devasura Yat Sattvat Amrishaiva Bhati Sakalam Rajyo Yatha He Brahmaha Yat Pada Plavamiva Bhati Hi Bhavambo Dhesti Tirshabatam Bandhoham Tamashesha Karana Param Ramakhyam Isham Harim. I salute the Supreme Lord Hari, known as Rama, the cause transcending relative causes, whose mysterious power controls all beings in the worlds, including Brahma, the Devas and the Asuras, whose substance gives reality to all things, just as the rope does to the snake appearing on it, and whose feet alone before a spiritual aspirant as a boat for crossing the ocean of samsara. Dear devotees, friends, we are reading Ramayana, but we are not going through all the stories as we always said. We'll be remembering those great people that is characterized in the Ramayana. And we know that the whole thing started with a conversation between the Valmiki and Narada. In our first, this is the third time we are reading the Ramayana. In our first episode, we discussed that the Narada came to Valmiki, and Valmiki was by that time an accomplished person. The Valmiki, he started his life very humbly. We know that they say that he was a son of a rishi, but afterwards he lost in the forest, and he grew up under the foster father who was in profession a hunter. So Valmiki, his name was Ratnakara. The Ratnakara also learned hunting, but to maintain the big family, he started looting people also. So he became a dacoit, wayside dacoit, and that he used to take out all the possessions of the people. This Valmiki, one day, he was waiting because people were aware that there is a dangerous person in the jungle, so they used to avoid that particular path. So Valmiki was not getting any income. Valmiki means that time Ratnakara. And Ratnakara was waiting, as was the wish of God. The great Narada was coming through that way. The Ratnakara went and wanted to take out all that he was possessing. Narada was only having a musical instrument and nothing else. Narada is a monk. He was not having any gold, any money, any other costly things, only a veena that he used to carry to play that and to sing the song of God, taking the name of God. Then what happened? This Narada told, can you please tell me why you are taking this bad and the filthy profession, like looting the people, killing the people, torturing people? Why you are doing this? By doing this, you are incurring sin, and you will suffer in your next life. But he said, no, that is not going to happen, because I am doing it to maintain my family, and I am sharing whatever I am earning by doing this. I am sharing it with my father, my mother, my wife, and my children. So obviously, even if I am incurring the sin, it is distributed among all the family members. My portion of sin will be very less. Then Narada told, no, it cannot be. Whatever the bad work that you are doing, incurring the sin, it will be only yours. Nobody is going to take share of it. And nobody can. Okay, if you don't believe me, you better go back to your parents, ask them, ask your wife, are they ready to share your sin? And then come back and do whatever you like to do with me. Then that Ratnakara, the ferocious person, he told, okay, I will tie you with this tree and I will go and ask. He went back home and he asked his father, Father, is the question, I am earning by looting people. And naturally, it is not a good work. And I am incurring all sins. Are you not going to share my sins? Then the father told, Son, I helped you to grow up. And now it is your duty as a grown-up son to take care of the parents. I don't know how you are earning. I am not going to share your sins. The mother also replied the same way. Then the wife told, when you married, I promised that I will take care of your family. I am looking after and I am taking care. And whatever way a wife can do, a mother can do, I am doing. So I am doing my dharma, swadharma. I don't know how you are maintaining your family. I am not going to share the sin. And he went to the children. Children told, Father, now we are not earning. So you are helping us to grow up. When we grow up, we will take care of you. But at this moment, we don't know how you are earning. So obviously, we cannot take any share. This thing turned the whole mind. He understood whatever the bad, the people, they don't understand. And they think because of the maya, because of the delusion, they think that I should maintain my family, my wife, my children and give them a lot of comfort, and for that I will go on earning in whatever way and all sin will be distributed. Wrong thing. It cannot be. The spiritual life is a alone journey, is a lone journey. No one can help. Adi Shankaracharya, he is telling that suppose your father has taken a loan from someone and he will get somebody else to pay back that loan. But the sin that you are committing or the good work that you are merit that you are earning, that you cannot share with anyone. The spirituality, spiritual life is a completely lonely life. You have to move on alone. So that is the way. Then he came back, he told, Sir, now I have understood. And so many bad things I have done. Now, how can I purify myself? Now I have understood that the work that I did, for that I have to go to hell and I will be tortured over there. Now how to purify my mind? Then as the Guru always say, the Narada became the Guru of the Ratnakara. And he said, sit over here and go on repeating the name of Sri Rama. So say Sri Rama. The Valmiki could, at that time the Ratnakara could not even pronounce the word Rama. And say Rama, he became Mora. Rama, the Mora, like that he was telling. Because he used to kill people. So the Mora, the death or dead body, he knew about that. He could pronounce that. But the pure name of God, he could not pronounce in the beginning. And his guru, the Narada, said, no problem, you go on repeating this. Whatever you can, the way you can pronounce, you pronounce and repeat it. And go on praying, oh God, whatever wrong thing I have done, I am sorry for that. So he was going on repeating. He never moved, never even went out for eating or drinking. He was going on repeating the name, and his mind was very strong. So this is the important thing. Those who are doing some bad work, they have a very strong mind, disciplined mind to do this work, very courageous mind. And once they turn that mind for the good work, immediately they can become good. Only it is all mind, it is not the body. So that is, the Hindus never say the eternal damnation. Hindus always say, just you think that I am going to change myself and you will be changed. This is possible. So he was going on thinking in that way. And after a long time, Narada came back and he found that there is a bulky, there is a heap of ants. That ants usually live in the earth. So they made that, and inside from that is coming a sound, Rama, 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 Rama. So he broke that ant hill and took out that person, and because he was there, Narada discovered him, the Ratnakara, from the ant hill. It became Balmiki, Balki. Balki is the ant. So Balki, the hill of that ants, it became Balmiki. So this is the first poet of the human society. Why? Before him, no one composed anything. That it goes like that. He was the first person who composed. A man, a person who used to kill the human being, who used to loot, who used to torture. Now one day, after this penance, it's called penance. If I have done something wrong, if I go on taking the name of God and repent for that, my mind become purified. And when the mind become purified means it is not going to any object of the world. Rupa, Rasa, Shabda, Sparsha, Gandha, all these things, the beauty, the sound, the smell, the taste, when I am controlling the mind from all those and give it constantly the thought of God, mind become purified. So what is the purity? Thought of God. So he was going on repeating the name of God. That is called purity. And this purity, after becoming pure, one day he was going to bathe in the Ganga, and he saw that the one he was belonging to that particular caste, the hunters. He saw the hunter killed a bird, and that gave him a pain. And he said to the hunter, "What have you done? Why you killed that bird? How much the food you will get out of that?" So by that way, when he expressed his grief, it came out in a very poetical way. It's called the poetry, first poetry. So Balmiki became very famous. The Ratnakar became Balmiki. This story of Ratnakar transforming into Balmiki, that proves one thing. Anyone at any point of time, it can transform and become good. So that is why they say every saint had a future and every saint had a past. Every sinner has a future. They can transform themselves the moment we take the decision. Now I am just remembering that once I went to Bombay, and I went to another jail. They asked me to give a talk before all those people. They were there, but they were not ordinary thieves or dacoits. They were underground people. They are the Chota Sakil and all those very terrible people. So they took me over there to give a spiritual talk before them. I was thinking, what can I say before them? And so many people, so many of them, mainly young people. So they were sitting over there. Then I started like this. The friends, why you today sitting on the floor? and all around the police people standing guarding you, and when they are addressing you, you know, in Hindi they address very roughly when they are talking with this type of people, the thieves and all, kutte they say. Then they were touching them with the feet, and they were asking, hey kutte, get up and go over there. Very humiliating. I told, look at me, I am a human being, and they are giving me so much respect to me. They have garlanded me, they have given a very good seat, and they are respecting me, and they are not giving any respect to you people. Rather, they are insulting you almost every moment. Why? Because by the grace of God, I took a good path, and unfortunately you made a mistake in your life. That much and nothing else. The physical strength, your intellectual strength, and your knowledge about other people are much more than me. And though they were so good looking people, I was wondering, I was thinking the bad people means they'll be very rough. It's not like that. Very good looking. And a young boy, like hardly 20, 22, he was also sitting over there, very fair complex and very good looking. Then I was asking him, what has happened to you? Why you are in this group? Then he showed his like this, and he was telling, because of my bad karma. So these people, I told, say, whenever you want, you can become good. Just decide. From now, this moment, I am going to become good. Just resolve. Now then, another year is coming. 2020 will be over within a month. And then a new year will start. And what the people they do, they enjoy and celebrate that 1st January. But that is the time we are supposed to take the account of our work. What have I done in my past, and what I am going to do in my future? So that way one should think and resolve. From today I am going to be good. And how I am going to be good? Just by thinking good. That's all, and nothing else. So that Ratnakar, who was a dacoit, who used to kill people, he decided to become good, and he became Valmiki. And he became so famous, this Valmiki, and people started worshipping him, and so many they came, they accepted him as their guru. The Valmiki was respected. And then Narada came. Then the conversation that we have already discussed in our first class, that the Narada came and Valmiki told, why I am not satisfied, and can you please tell me, is there anyone, a perfect person in this world? And he was telling who can be the perfect person. Then the Narada gave him the life of Sri Ramachandra. You may remember, and it is there in the YouTube also. So you can fast, and the second we discussed about that. This is the life of Valmiki, which teaches us that even if we have done something wrong, if we decide, we can become good. It's not like eternal damnation, the conception some of the philosophies they are having. No, it is nothing like that. Any moment I can turn towards the God and I can become good. Now friends, there are the great characteristics like the Dasaratha. The Dasaratha, he belongs to the Ikshaku family. This Ikshaku family, they are the family of the sun. You know that there are two great families, that one belongs to sun, another to moon. So Surya Vangsha and Chandra Vangsha. When you are reading some of the old stories of the Indian, the kings' lives, you will find they will always say we belong to the sun, another will be moon. Surya Vangsha or Chandra Vangsha. These were the two great families. And this Dasaratha belonged to Ikshaku family, and he was the son of Aja, and they were related to the San dynasty. And the kingdom was Koshala. Koshala was very big. In the south it was Dravida, then the Sindhu, Saubhira, Saurashtra, Dakshinapatha, then the Bengal, Banga, then the Anga means Assam, then Magadha, that is Bihar, then Matsya and Kashi, all this almost the whole undivided India, they were ruling. So it was the huge kingdom, and their capital was Ayodhya. Ayodhya, it was a very big, by the river Sarayu, the Ayodhya, the capital was there, and Dasaratha was the king of that.
So you just get back, you don't just drop that pretty point.
Okay.
Somebody's talking.
Oh, acha.
You're not hearing anything?
Mukti, can you please put a haya? Thank you. So this is the way we come to know. This is the Dasaratha. He was so courageous. He was so strong. He was so good person, and people were so happy. All the people, those who used to live under him in that kingdom, they were all happy. So why I am telling? Because a person who was having so much of good, wonderful capacity. So he also not only a good warrior and a good king, a ruler, but also he realized the Brahman. He achieved that great knowledge. So he was Rajarshi, Raja plus Rishi. That Dasaratha, he became so much attached to the sons, and he was having 4 sons, that is Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata and Shatrughna. These are the 4 sons. And he became very much attached to Ramchandra particularly, but he has a weakness to his second wife. So that made him suffer. Anyway, if we have any weakness to these worldly things, we are going to suffer. So that always they say that we suffer because of these. About their kingdom, it is said the best people of that time, they wanted to live into that kingdom, into that Koshala, and particularly the Ayodhya. And it is said, Siddhanam tapasadhigatam divi. In the Ramayana, Valmiki Ramayana, it says, Siddhanam tapasa adhigatam divi. Even the realized soul, Siddha means realized soul, those who have already realized the God, even those, they wanted to reside over there in that country. Why? Because it's a very good country. And if the king is good, king is just, the people, the good people like to live under him, because the protection, that will be there, peace will be there. So then the good people, mainly they are thinkers. So they can think properly. They can write down the books, or they can meditate, they can do some good work. If the social and the political condition is not good, how people can survive? The Dasaratha was named as the Rajarshi. He was a very good person. This Dasaratha was having the very honest 8 very intelligent ministers. Any king should have a very good ministers. The only king alone cannot do. The ministers are supposed to help. The Dasaratha was having a group of 8 very good ministers, and of them the best was Sumanta. The Sumanta was almost his friend. And not only that, they used to be always together. This Sumanta, though he was a low born, So this is the beauty of the Hinduism, though sometimes nowadays they are talking about the caste system and criticizing all the time all people. The only criticism about the Hinduism is caste system. But that is a very good system. But when you are utilizing it wrongly, even the good thing will also become bad. So those who were intelligent, they were called Brahmana. Those who were courageous, they were the Kshatriyas. Those who were having the good knowledge of economy, they became the Vaishyas. And the other became the Shudra because they could work well. The handyman, they were very helpful in the society. These only 4 systems were there. And this Sutaputra, the Sutaputra means from the lower caste, he chose that Sumanta as the prime minister. The prime minister became from that caste. Why? He was very intelligent. And at the same time, his character was very good. It is not the king, mainly the ministers. They rule the country, and that brings good name to the king or the bad name for the king. So one should be very, very careful in choosing the ministers. The Dasaratha was having these 8 ministers, and he was having 3 wives. They were also in their characteristics the wonderful character. The one is Kaushalya and Kaikeyi and Sumitra. We will come to that. Dasaratha, he, as if when he used to drive the chariot, as if he is driving the 10 chariots. Dasha means 10. Ratha means chariot. In those days, that was a great skill. So when he is driving the chariot, he was so skilled to control the horses, as if people used to think that the 10 rathas, 10 chariots are moving, coming. And he'll be manipulating that. So his name became Dasha, 10, Ratha, the chariots. This is about the Dasaratha. Then afterwards, he was having his guru, that Vasishtha. This about the Vasishtha we will come to know afterwards. This Dasaratha, the Lord Vishnu, he came advented as his son, and Lord Vishnu came in 4 forms: Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata and Shatrughna. Though immediately after Ramachandra came the Bharata, maybe only a few months or a few weeks, the age differences, but after the Rama, immediately we say Lakshmana. Why? Because the Lakshmana and Rama, they were very close to each other. And Bharata and Shatrughna, they were close. 4 brothers in that way. The Kaushalya's son was Rama, and Kaikeyi's son was Bharata, and Sumitra's son was Lakshmana, and Ram, Lakshman, Bharata, Shatrughna. These 4 brothers, they were there. Now we will see how this king, who was so a good person, slowly his mind got attached to the second wife. Why? Because that wife came from almost from the Punjab, in the Punjab in those days, and she was very courageous and she was very good warrior. In one war, when Dasaratha was almost captured by his enemies, then this wife, she went along with the Dasaratha, and she was a very good archer, and she started shooting the arrows and saved the life of Dasaratha and brought him back to safety. It proves another thing, that in those days even the girls were also highly trained, in military arts and military training, and they were good education also, that was good for them, good in them. They were highly educated and also courageous, and they knew all these things. This is one part. Secondly, as a good person, Dasaratha promised. And what he promised? Whatever you ask from me, I will give you. That was the promise. Now the wife told, at this moment I don't need anything. Rather, when I will think, I will ask. So that is the background story. The 4 sons were born. The first son was the Rama. Now there is another story for this birth of Rama and others. So he was having a prayer meeting, and in that prayer, and the yajna was going on. In that yajna, God brought some porridges, payasam, for the wife, because that was the Putra Antashti yajna. They were praying, they were performing the yajna only to pray to God, give me a son. Instead of one, they gave that payasam and said, you better distribute this among your wives. So Dasaratha gave half to Kaushalya, and the balance half he distributed to the other 2 wives. But the Kaikeyi was not very respectful, as they say, was not very much respectful in taking that. Kaushalya was very respectful. She took the whole thing and then ate that. But the Kaikeyi took it, but when she was eating, a portion of it that fell from her hand. And there was a bird, they say the crow, it was nearby. The crow swooped over there and took that and was flying. Then Indra noticed it, and he said, he doesn't know, crow doesn't know what it is. Crow should not eat it. The brother, he asked the Vayu Devata, the air, you go catch that bird and take that porridge from it. And the Vayu took it, then asked the Indra, whom I am going to give it? He said, you better go and see on a hill one lady alone sitting and praying. She is also praying for a son. Give that portion to her. And that was Anjaneya. This Anjaneya, the mother of Hanumanji, that portion he took to that lady Anjaneya, gave it to her. She also took, and Hanuman was born. That's why you will find in the Ramayana, they accept Hanuman also in the same family of Ramachandra. So Sita, Bharata, Lakshmana, Hanuman, Sameta, they say in that way. The same way, it is the Rama and also Lakshmana, Bharata, Shatrughna, Sita, the power of Rama, and Hanuman. How can Hanuman come in the same family? Because of this. Hanuman, and because the Vayu took that porridge to that mother, they say Vayu Putra. The Vayu Putra in that sense. So this is the whole story of the Ramayana. And these 4, they were growing up, and afterwards this Ramachandra, that was the system in those days, that they used to send their children to their teachers. All the 4 brothers, from the 6 years to 16 years, you are supposed to be with the Guru Griha, in the Guru Griha, and learning. So the 4 brothers went to the Gurus, and they learned, and Ramchandra and other 3 brothers came back. And this we find in the Yoga Vasishta, that after coming back, the 16-year-old Ramachandra, he was not the same old Rama as the people they saw him. It completely changed. Why? Because a great transformation came in the life of Rama after studying the scripture. And what the scripture is teaching? That there is only one Brahman, the consciousness, and nothing else. And all that you see as the world, everything is changing. And those that is changing are going to be destroyed one day. Why you should put your mind and soul to acquire this thing? Don't put that, because everything is changing. I purchased a plot of land, I constructed a house, and then one day I found that I am dead, and then it remains nothing for me. So nothing remain. So we have to be very careful about that. But people, they forget. They always think, I am going to survive. Whatever is happening all around, but I am going to survive. And they always think that I will make my house as in the stone, so it will be remaining there and nothing is going to be lost. And if you go and see the ruins of the castles all over Europe and in India, all the kings, they took out the money from the poor people and they built huge castles. And where are those kings now? And what are these castles? All ruins. No one lives over there. Now they are developing only for the tourist spot, so to earn little money by showing the tourist over there. So by seeing that, one should understand, but whatever we are earning, that we should use only for the best. What is that best? For me, whatever I want, that, and then distribute it for the development of the society, because after that, nothing is going to remain. So this is the teaching of the spirituality. Everything is temporary, including my body and mind, because it is changing. Ramchandra took it very seriously, and he started withdrawing his mind. But his father was planning that he will become the prince, and then afterwards he will become the king. The father wanted to retire. And because he is the senior son, Rama's mind completely withdrawn. And when the father asked him, Rama, what has happened to you? I am planning to make you the prince of this country, and all people, they love you so much. Then he said, tell me, father, everything is changing. Even if I become a king, I am also going to die someday. Why should I become a king then? Why not I should utilize my mind, concentrate my mind, and develop this passion and love for God? So that was the debate, and afterwards the great personalities, they came and they taught the Ramachandra. That is a story we will discuss afterwards. And for today, the Dasaratha, though he was a very good king, but only one weakness destroyed the whole thing. When he was planning to make the Rama the prince of that country, then this lady, the second wife, came. She was also a very good lady. But sometimes some of the people working around you, they always come and give you different type of advices. There was another, that elderly lady like that, and she came all the way from the Koikei's, the parental house, and she used to look after Koikei, and she told Koikei, this is the opportunity. Now the king promised that he will give you whatever you want, and still that is waiting. This is the time that you should go and tell the Dasaratha that you promised, now keep the promise. And what was that prayer? My son Bharata should be the king. That is the first demand. Second demand, you must send Ram in banishment for at least 14 years. So that was the two prayer. This lady thought, and why not? all the queens, they think that my son should be the next king. So he went to Dasaratha and reminded him of his promise. Dasaratha told, whatever you want, I will give. But don't please ask this to banish Sri Ramachandra. Maybe I can give the kingdom to your son Bharata. But don't ask me to banish the Ramachandra. Without Rama, I cannot survive. Because the king was a religious person, he had the development, and he was a Brahmagyani too. And he knew that Rama is not an ordinary person. He was the Vishnu himself, the Lord Vishnu. So if the Rama is very close to me, I can get the liberation. That was the idea. So this is the way he was praying to the second wife, but the wife was not leaving. No, you have to keep your promise. Now came Ramachandra. He was not knowing anything of it. He came back. And his brother Bharata was also not aware of it. Bharata went to his maternal uncle's place. That was very far away in the western part of India. So Bharata was also not knowing the mother is planning like that. But his mother, the second wife, Kaikeyi, and she became so ruthless. She wanted to pressurize on the king, Dasaratha, and the old man could not resist it. Then he started crying. They stopped taking food and fainted again and again. Then the Ramchandra came. You know what the father said? This is the history of the Hindus. The father said, son, you declare yourself as king, and then you better arrest me. As a king you can do that. You just arrest me and become the king, and all the subjects, they love you so much. Ministers are also supporting you. There will be no problem for you. And what Ramchandra said? Raghukula riti sada chali aaye, prana yau baru bachan na jaye. Father, there is a tradition of the Raghukula, because their first person of that family was Raghu. That from the Raghu, when this is coming down, that even if you die, you should not break your promise. Once you have taken the oath, once you have taken the promise, that is your dharma. The keeping that promise is your dharma, is your religion. Sometimes the people, they ask, what is religion? Religion is nothing but keeping the promises. Whatever we do, we always take an oath. When you go and become a doctor or an engineer or a professional or an administrator or the ruler, the ministers, the chief prime minister, we always take the oath. Everyone, before taking a responsibility, including those who are becoming the householder at the time of the marriage, they also take the oath. And the Christians' marriages, I have heard, they are taking the promises. And in Hindus also they are there. And to become a monk, we also take the oath that I am not going to hurt anyone. I will love each and everyone. I will not have anything as my possession, everything for God, and that type of oath. And if I am forgetting that oath, if I am not keeping my words, then I am not a monk. If someone is not keeping that promise, he is not a householder, he is not a minister. So keeping the promise is the dharma. So Sri Ramachandra taught it. That was the first time when the human society is slowly developing. The sum of the great souls were there, rishis were there, the Vasishtha Muni was there, but ordinary people, they were not that way organized. The contribution of Sri Ramachandra is to organize them, give them the teaching how they should survive, how they should live. So this is the way. And the Ramachandra came and told his father the Father, once you have given the promise, you must keep it. And don't be worried about me. I'll be so happy. I never wanted this kingdom. What is this kingdom? Only taking some decision. Oh, who will stay here, who will go out, and who is doing this and doing that. In a family, the head of the family, what he does? He takes the decision. Who will stay in this room, who will stay in that room, what should we will purchase, with whom we are going to develop the relationship. All the decisions the father takes, or the man of the family. So that much. The same way is a very extensive way they will be doing it, and that is the kingdom. What the king does, very ordinary simple thing. As because it is related with many people, so it is important. Otherwise, it is nothing. Ramachandra was telling, I will be very happy if I am not getting this responsibility of a king, and if I go into the forest, I can meet the best people of the society. The rishis, they used to live in that jungle. They had their schools in that jungle, away from all the hustles and bustles. So they used to live over there. I will go, I will sit with them, I will discuss with them, and I will learn a lot many things from them. So love for knowledge. I like to know, I like to know, I like to know. Love for knowledge. That is the wonderful thing. So Sri Ramachandra convinced his father, but the father's mind broke, and one day he died. So that story we will start, but before that we will have, this is the story of the Ramachandra. We will follow the story step by step, following the Ramachandra, and we will go to next class. We will discuss about the characteristics of the mothers, the great mothers, the Kaushalya, Kaikeyi and Sumitra. So today, thank you for organizing this wonderful meeting, and this the Vedanta Society Trinidad. I know so many people nowadays they are listening to this Ramayana, and you people I have noticed are very much dedicated to the Sri Ramachandra. You also love the Ramayana. The one thing you must remember, the spiritual life is nothing but the original life of yourself. I am not this body, I am not this mind. I was born over here, I was born over there. I belong to this family. This is my father, this is my mother. All external thing. But in reality, who am I? I am a soul. And that is traveling. And traveling life after life. The I should be aware about my own soul, and which is nothing but the God, but it is the reflection of the Atman that is within me, and that I call Jivatma, the soul that is within me. When the soul will not be there, the life will not be there, this dead body will be burned. Nobody is going to preserve this dead body. It will be burned or buried. Then why should we be so much attached to this body? Rather utilize this body to realize the wonderful knowledge that is called spirituality. That I am not this body, I am not this mind, but I am the soul. How to develop that? Through two ways. One is path of knowledge, another path of devotion. We will go through the path of devotion, and the devotion is to understand the characteristics of the great souls who lived, and then following their paths. So we will follow the path of Sri Ramachandra and develop our spiritual life. And what we will gain in spiritual life? Joy and happiness. And that joy and happiness for which everything we are doing only for joy and happiness. The Thanksgiving Day, people are nowadays, everything is, particularly in America, I don't know, in Trinidad, but here no one can invite the friends and the families. They are all separated, but everyone wishing each other and preparing some special dishes, enjoying the food, like this they are doing. What is our enjoyment? Only food and some the friends and their talking, their company, and sometimes some movies, going to visit some places. That much enjoyment. And you know, sitting in meditation, you can have great enjoyment, much more joy you cannot imagine. So if you are sitting in meditation and slowly forgetting, that is called spirituality. Because when I know myself, that gives the joy, and slowly your mind will be completely free from all these narrow things, hating others, criticizing others, and thinking about others. Everything will be free from that. It's a great joy you will have. So I pray to that great Ramachandra, the God, the Vishnu that incarnated in that form, to bless us all, so that we can realize in this very life our true nature, and that is our real self. Thank you very much. So as we always do, so let us chant this Rama Nama a little, and then we close by saying 3 times Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Jai Ram, Sri Ram, Jai Jai Ram. Say Jai Ram, Sri Ram, Jai Jai Ram. 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 Jai Raghupati Ramachandra Ji ki Jai. Say Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Acha.